He said to his disciples about the end which is to come. The end is coming for every one of us in some way. I hope you all have an eternal perspective. I hope you remember that this wonderful life, which we're called to enjoy, I hope you're enjoying life. Are you enjoying life? You're called to enjoy life. It's a wonderful gift, but this life on earth, it's just temporary. We were made for heaven. Now, the Lord Jesus goes on to say, the authorities will arrest you and persecute you, and they will hand you over to synagogues and prisons, and you will be brought before kings and so on. And he says, some of you will be killed. Now, today, throughout the world, Christians are arrested in places. They are dragged before courts, they're jailed, and some of them are killed in quite large numbers. If you follow any Catholic news sources, there's a constant reporting of parts of the world where it's dangerous. It's dangerous to be a Christian. It's dangerous to be a Catholic. It's a real decision, like, am I really going to follow Jesus? Because if I do, I could be put in prison and even killed. Now, one such example is Blessed Miguel Pro. Have you heard of Blessed Miguel Pro, the Mexican martyr who died in 1927, Jesuit priest? He was 36 years old. It was at the time of the persecution of the church, a time when there was kind of a lot of revolutions going on in different parts of the world, especially South America and other places. And these new regimes were trying to do away with old systems of government. I guess none of these old systems of government were perfect, and sometimes the church didn't support some of these new regimes because they were a little too power hungry, a little too authoritative, and that's what was going on in Mexico. And so Father Miguel Pro, the church was officially persecuted. There was a Sunday, imagine this, a Sunday where all the priests in Mexico had a letter to read to the people, basically saying, we can't agree to the terms of the present regime in this government, so see you later. We're going underground. That's what the priest said. You could read the text. I have it in my room. And so overnight, the priest disappeared. You had to be part of the underground church to know where Mass was celebrated. And if these priests were caught, they were killed. And one such priest was young Father Miguel Pro. And he's one of the beloved saints of the church because his story is quite amusing. He was a disguise artist. And even, what do you call it, a bit of a contortionist, like he could, kind of change his face so people didn't recognize him. And there's so many hilarious stories. One of them is the police once again were chasing him because everyone knew about Father Miguel Pro. He was kind of ministering to Catholics secretly all over the place, and the police were chasing him, and he was running, and he went into a house, and the police surrounded him, and somehow he found clothing. He changed his clothes, snuck out of the window of the house, and came around and pretended he was the police captain or a police captain. And he says, "Where's the priest? Where is he?" And then starts berating the police officer. "What do you mean he's in the house? Get him!" He just berates the police officers, tells them off furiously, and then leaves. And the police officers, they keep looking. They're so embarrassed. And they're like, "Did you know that police captain?" They're like, "No." And they realize it's him, And there's a lot of stories like that with Blessed Miguel Pro. So finally, they did catch him. They arrested him. They accused him falsely of some crime. And when it was, obvious that he didn't do it, the commander, whoever he was, said, "Kill him. He's a priest." And so they brought him in front of a firing squad, and the authorities wanted to make an example of Father Miguel Pro. So they brought in the journalists and the photographers, and they photographed his execution, being shot in front of a firing squad. You can see the pictures, the impact, the air leaving. It's just his dead body, the coup de grace, the last shot when they photographed everything, and they sent it out to the people to show them what happens when you defy the government. Guess what happened? All the Catholics, where can I get one of those pictures? He's a saint. He's a martyr. I want a saint picture. I want a martyr picture. Everyone wanted these pictures of their saint, their martyr. And the government realized what they'd done was backfiring, so it became illegal to have the pictures that they were first distributing. And the crowds came out. It was illegal to gather, it's illegal to have demonstrations back then without government permission, but people came out in the thousands and tens of thousands celebrating their saint, their martyr, Miguel Pro. And you know what? You know what Saint Miguel, or Blessed Miguel Pro's last words were? He forgave his. That's right. He forgave his executioners, and then he cried out, "Viva Cristo Rey! Long live Christ the King!" And he was martyred. And so again, this is real. And we have to ask ourselves, is the Lord Jesus really our King? Is he our eternal King? And are we willing to be faithful to him to the end?